A Roman civil war has erupted, and now these factions must go toe to toe to see who will hold Rome. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish, and welcome back to another Total War Rome 2 online battle. Today we are diving in with a brand new scenario, and in this one the Romans have allied themselves with the Arverni, and they are going toe to toe with 3 Roman legions. I'd like to think that these are kind of the Roman legions from like a Pompey-esque, Senate sending their forces forward and then defending this settlement. We do have the Romans inside the settlement and also the Arverni, who I guess are kind of like more the supporting tribes of the region, who are allied towards Rome, and they've supported this Roman force inside the settlement. So hopefully it'll be very, very exciting seeing this. It's always good seeing kind of like a Rome versus Rome. It would have been really cool if the players did choose to go like Mark Antony's Rome and Augustus's Rome, or Octavian's Rome, sorry. That could have been a kind of a cool setup if you're going to do a Roman v Roman battle, because then at least the legionaries are a little bit different. But either way, this should be very exciting. So taking a look at the forces as the siege towers march forward, ever inching closer and closer to the walls. Probably going to have a lot of decent units. So we've got these Roman ballistas back here, which are being hammered by the defenders, and they've actually managed to secure themselves a nice hit there on that ballista. Behind that, we do have some Praetorian guards sitting in the back. We've got a Roman general's bodyguard moving out of range of our artillery as the shells come flying in. We've got some auxiliary Syrian archers, as well as obviously the standard legionaries that we know and love right here, the legionary cohorts. As an artillery shot, I think, comes flying in on this front unit. Some also of the later tier Romans as well, right here, the later legionaries. As you can see, the cohort pushing up forward there. But if we take a look at the defenders on this side, because I mean the attackers are, assaulting the settlement from 2 directions. We've got one over here and one over here. But for the defenders, we're going to have the Arverni, sorry, going to be leading the assault right here. And I love how they set up their burning balls of danger up on this hill, ready to push down any attackers that come close to them. And I think these guys are also hidden as well. Which is kind of a nice setup right there. We've also got some levy freemen who I guess are just positioned here to hold the choke point and buy some time for the rest of the reinforcements to come up. And obviously the chosen swords and oathsworn and everything else, they're going to come in a little bit later and really be impactful as the units start to get tired. We also have 3 Roman cohorts over on this side, which are going to be supporting the Gauls and their front line. But if we take a look at the Roman side, again they've set up some burning balls of destiny on this left hand side, supported by some auxiliary Balearic slingers, as well as a nice little front line here guarding the front gate, and obviously all the axis is down. However, they're not going to be defending the walls whatsoever by the looks of it. They might decide to push some men up on the walls in a little bit, just to obviously avoid any archer fire coming in. But this is interesting. If they're going to go ahead and give up the walls, they're going to be very vulnerable to any missiles or Balearic slingers or anything that basically gets up on this wall and can shoot directly down. And yeah, it does seem like that's going to be the case. The players are going to kind of almost give up these defensive positions until the enemy get a lot closer, just so that there's no like artillery destroying a wall or maybe some archers getting easy shots. So this isn't a bad idea. It obviously prevents you from being able to shoot at the enemy, but for the most part the players don't really tend to do that much, so they just want to kind of defend these towers for as long as possible. But we do have the attacking Romans coming flying off, and this is where it's going to get a little bit messy, because it's quite hard telling who's who in this battle. You can tell, obviously, the defenders are going to have this blue trim they got in Valrock from a weird man outside the bank, and he's going to be giving them that blue trim around their flag, whereas the other guys have that red flag, the attackers. And that's why it would have been quite nice maybe if they used like Mark Antony's Rome or something to kind of specify another Roman faction, because yeah, as you can see, it's quite hard to tell who's who, but I'm sure you guys can make the difference. And as I said, I love these kind of Roman Civil War battles as well. The walls are going to be, covered in Roman red as the battle erupts on every single side, and the defenders have committed a decent amount of units to this defense right now, committing 4 whole units up on this wall. You can see, or actually 5 if you include this one over here, which is going to be definitely challenging and pushing the enemy back, as it doesn't seem like they're going for this gatehouse whatsoever, which is really good for the defenders. And right now it's just all up to these Balearic slingers just hammering away, and you can see they are decimating the veteran legionaries from the attackers who are just trying to push up this hill. These guys are already down to 61 men, and they've lost over half their unit trying to breach this, and it's only really been like a couple seconds, about 30-40 seconds till they went up on that wall, so they are taking heavy casualties. It doesn't seem like on the other side, though, the Gauls are planning on really engaging this, and right now they are just trying to force the enemy legionaries into their traps, into the woodland, where these Levy Freemen do fight a little bit better. However, I don't think they're going to fare too well against the Roman forces. And that's so cool. Look at the distance as well. You can see the Romans rushing through the gate. Man, that's one of my biggest loves of Total War, is when you're watching a battle and in the distance, you know, through obstacles and other stuff, you can just see this stuff popping up. I think it's really, really cool to see that. And they're going to be pushing up down the street. I imagine going to be meeting these Levy Freemen, though, in the midst of battle. And this is obviously designed by the defenders. These Levy Freemen are here to die. They're here to absorb the Peeler throws. Some of these kind of more elite units for Celtic warriors, for chosen swordsmen, and the Oathsworn can then move their way in and kind of be a lot more effective as the Romans continue to pour into the settlement. And right now for these Romans, their main goal is just to kind of basically form a beachhead, get themselves into this settlement, get themselves like in a very nice position that they can quickly reinforce any areas that they need to. I think they've taken this gatehouse now as well, so they can just pour men in. And this is kind of one of the dangers of not defending the walls, is you give the attackers a very easy job of reinforcing their areas. Like now they can really plan their attacks on each of these choke points. Besides this one, but they've made a breach, so this is not really too much of an issue there. So yeah, man. Also, I don't know if these actually still shoot, because I guess once they've deployed, the ballistas don't shoot. But I imagine how powerful that would be if the ballistas were still just firing off shots into the Gauls. We're actually getting a unit of chosen swordsmen charging into the Romans and meeting them in the streets. And the Romans will probably come out on top of this attack. They have a very, very good setup. However, the Celtic warriors will be fighting for their homeland. I like to think that the Romans obviously, you know, bribed them a bit. The defending Romans bribed them to their side pretty heavily. So nice. We also have a Scorpion set up here as well, covering the walls. And I think Scorpions in sieges are pretty underrated for the defenders, as you can get a lot of pretty easy kills onto the walls because, oh, whoa, I did not mean to go that far. If you take a look at it, like if a ballista hits, ballistas tend to go through units. So if you fire into a clumped up area, which the walls are going to be, they can kill like 3 people on a shot, and that's not bad. You know, it's pretty effective for their price range. Does seem, however, the defenders have finally lost this left-hand side, and almost immediately we are seeing the attackers diving down here. They want to try and set themselves up a front line right here. They want to try and push back the auxiliary Berserk Slingers as quickly as they can. But the defenders are playing very well. They're setting up countermeasures. They're putting down these other fresh cohorts into this position. However, the gates are starting to dwindle as the attackers get more and more men to these gates, and as soon as they can reinforce this entire area with 4 more cohorts and just pour into the city. With everything they've got right now, though, the defenders on the walls are trying to repel them, and the Berserk Slingers are just racking up hundreds of kills. That's the advantage. This is a 3 versus 2, so it's kind of to be expected that the attackers will be taking an absolute pounding, but they do just have more men to replenish the breaches and continue the push, which revitalizes the pushing of their forces down the streets. As soon as they run out of men, the other player just kind of comes in, and I think this is the section of the wall that is going to be under the most amount of pressure. The flaming balls have been unleashed. Let's see them. They're going to be doing some friendly fire, but they should have ripped through the Romans. They kill a lot of friendly men, but look at that, burning many a Roman. That's awesome. That's really, really cool. It's probably going to be more devastating because this unit's probably going to break a lot more quickly now that the burning balls have ripped through them. And unfortunately, but I think it did seem like the balls did kind of go off on the left. If they would have run maybe a bit more straight, they would have done a lot more damage. Some more chosen swordsmen forming up, I guess preparing to defend this hill. They've also got the slingers up there as well, firing down rocks into that big clump. They must be racking up a nice amount of kills to be hitting them. However, Romans are in full force right now, charging forward. And on this side, look, they have basically an entire army in reserve right now, which is, yeah, that's pretty brutal. The Gauls definitely have their work cut out for them. Especially if a Roman player is going to commit his 3 reserve legions over to this side. I think they're going to end up getting enveloped pretty quickly as the Romans seem like they are pushing forward pretty heavily, and they're only going up against Celtic warriors, which honestly, you know, won't hold up against veteran Roman legionaries. So I think an envelopment might happen pretty quickly unless this Oathsworn is committed to the battle. I think what we're going to see is we're going to see these Romans break through here and come around, even though it does seem like they are playing pretty safe, and I love that the Roman player has sat back. I imagine he's just thrown all his peeler, or he's about to throw all of his peeler. And it's so much like so effective being able to use all your ammunition before diving in, because the amount of damage this peeler can do, it can really take off kind of that HP shield that a lot of units have before getting into battle. So when you actually start to clash, you actually kill them a lot quicker, and then they have a lot less people to fight back. So I like they at least try to use as much ammunition as possible, and now the Romans are going to be advancing forward once more into the breach. I think that looks pretty cool. Again, another peeler throw going off. Just trying to get into a better position to use that ammunition. And yeah, it's great to see the players are trying to whittle down the enemy, because they have to. You know, they are outnumbered in this battle. There is an entirely fresh army defending or attacking them. So we need to make sure that they definitely get the kills when needed. It does seem like though they have managed to repel the attackers on this side. There are a few units kind of scattered around, but they are taking back this gatehouse, and it seems like the Roman players are simply just falling back. I think they're going to wait until their allies have broken through, because again, this was very much a diversion attack. They just want to basically force the enemy to have to leave men here, whilst their main attack over on this side of the settlement really pushes in. And that it was a very successful tactic, right? They've managed to quite simply break the defenders here without too much hassle. Now they can start to send soldiers through this kind of path to outflank. They can do a lot, basically. And I imagine what we'll see is we'll see a lot of these defenders fall back here. You can already start to see the lines being drawn by the commander and other units. They're going to try and rush their way over here to reinforce this section, but you know, the Romans, if they do decide to commit in their reserves now, which it does look like they're going to commit some of them, they're going to quite easily break this, and the defenders are going to kind of be scrambling to try and reinforce these breaches. And then as soon as you start to see these men falling back, you know, quite quickly you're going to see this assault force move forward and then break through once they're all retreating back over to the other side of the settlement. So yeah, it's a very, very hard defense, because you have to leave men over there, but if you want to win against the superior numbers, you have to also try and crush the enemy in these gaps. Also watch this kind of cool fight going off right there. That looks really, really cool. It's always very nice. Now, I think you guys do this quite a lot as well in these battle replays, is when I'm zoomed into a battle, you kind of just pick off like two soldiers fighting and watch them have that showdown. I know I do it all the time. Whenever I'm watching a battle replay or I'm recording one, I'm always like, yeah, these two soldiers right here, I'll just watch them in the midst, and then kind of as soon as one of them dies, I'll switch over. And oh my god, it does seem like the Romans, though, were repelled pretty heavily there, and they're immediately going to get outflanked here, as I imagine these 3 units of cohort legionaries are going to come flying into the side of the defenders and support their Gallic allies. As the Gauls continue to throw themselves against the shield wall. Maybe they're waiting for Pila. Oh yeah, they're waiting for Pila. Oh, that's going to be devastating. Right into the backs of these Romans. That one guy took 2 whole Pila to the arm, and then it just disappeared, because that's perfectly normal. And now they're going to come in, and I think they're going to rout these guys. However, the entire reserve legion is now advancing. We have a ton of men pushing forward, a lot of legionary cohorts, and a lot of these Avaki cohorts as well, which are the later tier ones. We're just going to teleport through this this siege equipment, because why not? We're also bringing some more Balearic Slingers, and honestly, it wouldn't be a bad idea to stick some Balearic Slingers up here, but oh my god, you need to be very careful. The Gauls have run through, and they've completely caught the Romans off guard. They're going to catch these ballistas and do some serious damage, but the Praetorian cohort is moving in. I wouldn't choose any better unit to come in and save the day as they come rushing through this gate. They're going to be hard pressed, because the Gauls are quick and they are charging down this street. There's actually cavalry right here. Oh, what a good charge here by the heavy horse of the Gauls. That's going to be amazing for the Arvenni. Sorry, if I've been calling them the Arvasi this entire time, it's because I've been too busy playing in Spain in the head-to-head. The Arvenni are going to be charging in. I apologize. You guys are probably sick and tired of me doing that, because I do that a lot. They're going to be making their way in. They're going to be getting some good charges. If they can kill this ballistic crew, holy crap, that is huge. Praetorian cohort is coming in, but the cavalry is just pulling through onto these archers. and also onto the Balearic Slingers. I think the Praetorian cohort are now they're throwing forward a lot more infantry. They're going to be enough to repel this and send some infantry back. I mean, they managed to kill this unit of Celtic warriors pretty easily. And if I was the Gauls, I'd probably kind of give up on this attack. It was a very, very, very nice charge. But now the Romans have pushed forward more men. I mean, even the cavalry in is obviously perfectly fine, as it seems like they're still racking up a lot of damage. And in vanilla Rome too, if you get a good cavalry charge off onto some missiles, they're just dead. In Divided Tempera, they can kind of withstand it, and if you've got stuff to support them or their late tier archers, they can kind of survive one charge. But in vanilla, literally, you touch a unit with your cavalry and the archers are just gone. It's yeah, pretty brutal. But right now, the heavy horse is still doing work back here. And they might be able to finish off the rest of these Roman units. There's still half of the unit left. And it's looking pretty good. It's looking like the cavalry is going to be able to kill both of the Balearic Slingers and the Syrian archers. And maybe even get this third unit, as the Roman player is busy being attacked elsewhere as more and more Celtic warriors are coming in to support this. And you guys obviously know how valuable it is to take away the enemy's missiles, especially if they're the attacker. It basically just means that the choke points are going to be brutal. And right now, oh my god, look at the brawl going off here as the Romans and the Gauls try and repel the enemy. So there's one standard bearer back here as well, rallying the men. We've got some awesome looking archers up on the hill. They continue just to fire into the big old blob. And this is an effective way of taking down the enemy. You do get a little bit of friendly fire by shooting into this blob, but I mean, look how many kills they are going to rack up by just shooting. Because they have that elevation as well, they can kind of avoid a lot of that friendly fire actually. And they can shoot directly into the tops of the oncoming infantry. I mean, if you take a look at how many kills they have, only 7 right now. Okay, that doesn't prove my point. Come on, guys, you got to do a lot better than that. And it looks like they're doing a very good job at the gate. I think they've deployed some of their more elite swords now. We've got chosen swordsmen being pushed up, and I think I saw a unit of Oathsworn coming up as well. No, just archers, and the rest of the Oathsworn are going to sit back, and the archers are going to, again, just pick away the oncoming attackers. Finally, though, we are seeing the Romans putting more men up on the walls. Now, this can be very much a double-edged sword by putting archers up here, because it makes your archers a lot more vulnerable to missiles, and especially slingers can slaughter your missiles when you put them on the walls. But it also gives you such an advantage, as they can really start to rack up kills, especially killing this cavalry will be very, very quick indeed. It seems like the Romans over on this side, the attacking Romans, are slowly starting to break the cohorts from the defending Romans. They're all well under 50% strength and their morale is dwindling. But maybe a nice little rally here by the general who is stationed close will be very effective. And it seems like the Romans, after regrouping, are going to be going in for another charge, pushing their legionaries onto the wall and having some pretty good success. They're managing to break a unit of this cohort here. And the other one is slowly dropping men. But again, they just need to try and buy as much time as physically possible for the other side of things, because that's the side that is really going to be winning the day. So these guys are definitely the forlorn hope, the sacrificial lambs in this siege battle. Has it drawn away out of interest? Yeah, so it seems like all the missiles have abandoned this side and gone over to this position right here. You can see them kind of running back a little bit. So I guess their plan did work pretty nicely, as they have managed to draw the attackers away. Or the defenders away, I should say. And that's going to allow them to push in. They've also got this ballista as they're still shooting. I'm really interested to see how many kills they have. Only 69, well, I guess once you get 69 kills, you can't get any more. But these guys are probably here now to set a blaze of burning balls if the attackers get through that. But reinforcements, who I imagine these guys marched all the way down this street and then finally arrived here, are going to arrive in just the nick of time, because as you can see, the Roman front line who are defending this area have been completely broken, and they only have one real unit left remaining. It wouldn't be a bad idea to use this unit to go and plug a gap, maybe try and get a nice little route, as they are Oathsworn. And they're going to go flying into the area that is kind of very loosely set up, and definitely the barbarians excel in these situations. The Romans are much better when obviously they're in that compact shield wall, because they have a lot of dense and mass. However, right now these guys are kind of ganging up on a lot of the Romans. You can see there's like 6 or 7 Gauls here fighting 3 or 4 Romans, and that's when their heavy attack stat really comes into play. You can see this is an absolute brawl right now. And even with the missile fire coming, I mean, actually the missiles probably have a very, very good view right now because there is no allied units here whatsoever. So all these arrows are going to be coming into the side of the enemy, which will be pretty brutal. Unfortunately, I think these Celtic Slingers are out of ammunition, which is pretty bad, but they definitely, you know, did their job. I say they did their job. Only 24 kills as well. These missiles are doing nowhere near as good as I thought they would. I mean, obviously the Romans have very, very decent missile protection, but even still, I would have assumed a little bit stronger from that. So the Romans are still struggling to break through these defenses. I thought the Romans would steamroll them, but it seems like they are still very much struggling. The defenders are throwing everything they have at them. And I mean, the Romans are starting to dwindle on reinforcements. They only have 5 more fresh cohorts to send into the battle. I mean, obviously the defenders are committing everything they have basically, besides like 3 units of reserves, which I think is a very, very smart idea. The Gauls have committed everything to this fight, and, you know, it's paying off for them. The envelopment, the Oathsworn coming in late to this battle is proving its worth, and it might be the turning point of the battle they need to win the day. But as you can see, the Banter power is still in favor of the attackers, so they definitely still have them reinforcements, and you know, there's not really a lot left over here. You know, a lot of missiles are having to be committed to this fight, so if these 5 units of fresh infantry come flying through this through the gate, I think they can have a lot of success on this battle. You can see the Gauls falling back a little bit, and again, I love seeing the defenders pick a melee general in these battles. Cavalry can be very useful for defenders in a siege battle. It allows them to do a lot of what the defenders don't think they can do. We're taking a high-tier melee general. I think this is so valuable. For situations like this, when the Romans start to break through, and then all of a sudden you come flying in with an elite general's bodyguard who just turns the tide of battle. That's exactly what they are doing, breaking the rest of these legionary cohorts and sending the attackers back once more. Brutal stuff right there. As I said, the defenders are very low on reinforcements, but you know, they've stopped them at every single crossing, so we'll have to see how effective that does become. Even on this side as well, we've done a pretty good job. The Romans are being surrounded now. The Eagle cohort, though, is still fighting. Unfortunately, I don't think we can see the Eagle. The Eagle might have fallen. And no brave warrior. Oh, no, there it is. You can see the Eagle being lifted high in the sky, rallying men to it. It's always great to see the Eagle on the battlefield. And obviously, only the Eagle cohort brings that into battles, which is really cool. We're actually getting some missiles being reinforced over here. Do they really need it? Yeah, I guess the Romans are going to win this. They're going to be pretty much non-existent once they do win this, but they're going to take him. That's probably why these missiles are coming over here, just to reinforce, maybe to stop the capture point from being taken. I'm not actually sure what one the capture point is. I don't know if this tells us. It's either this one or it's this one. I'm not sure what capture point is the main one, though, in the City Siege. So they've obviously just gone back to save that. And I think we might also get a unit of infantry just falling back, which again is going to be good because it's acting as a decoy force for the main army. Once again, you know, that retreat back, that regroup was really clever by the attackers. And it's great to see them actually kind of thinking a little bit outside the box for sure. And now we've just got this horde of Romans advancing forward, Praetorian Guard, ready to commit themselves to this battle. So this is going to be pretty good. You know, a lot of fresh units coming in. Luckily, the defenders have kept, you know, units in reserve. So these 3 units of infantry or 2 units of infantry are going to be a lot fresh compared to these exhausted Gauls and the exhausted other Romans. And look at them. They've had enough of battle. Look at that dude's face. He's seen some stuff in the midst of battle. This guy's just posing for his Instagram. And everyone else is ready for battle. So the Romans are going to commit their final assault very, very soon. And they were actually successful right here. So we're probably waiting for the gate to be taken so the burning oil doesn't come down. And I'm surprised the Romans managed to repel them. So yeah, right now, this is actually going to be a really, really close battle. Because the defenders, even though they've been repelling the attackers every single step of the way, they don't really have a lot left. And I think what we're seeing is we're going to see a retreat. We're going to see them fall back because they've bled at these walls and these breaches. And yeah, as I said, I don't know if they have much more left. I really like this as well. By the attackers, they've come completely around. They came down this this stairway off the walls, came around to actually envelop the defenders. Luckily, this is an Eagle first cohort, which is getting enveloped. But even still, that was a nice play by the defenders to get, or the attackers to get around the defenders. They're fighting hard. Obviously, the Eagle cohort is probably the best Roman unit you can bring to a battle. They also have a lot more in the unit, I think. Actually, no, they don't. In Divided Imperium, they have like 200 men in the unit. It's actually disgusting. Or maybe even more. It's like, I think, no, actually, yeah. A normal legionary unit on the Ultra unit scale in DEI has 200 legionaries in, and the Eagle cohort has 400, which is just absolutely insane because, you know, not only is that 400 elite heavy infantry, that's also 400 Pila times 2. So that's 800 javelins just from one unit. And if you get to a point where you can spam an entire army of them if you're just doing it for fun, it's insane. You can end up having like 8,000 javelins thrown at the enemy before they even get to you. You know, supposedly you're only supposed to bring 1 or 2, but you know, still like 1 per army. And I think there is actually a unit cap there somewhere, but still, it's yeah, it's a pretty fun mechanic to mess around with. So we'll just stick it on triple speed as the Romans pour into the settlement now. So yeah, the defenders have realised that they don't really have enough to defend, you know, the defensive points. So they're going to fall back and try and, you know, just basically regroup with everything and make their last stand. Advance power is pretty heavily in favour of the attackers, and that's going to really come down to these 5 units of fresh infantry that haven't really done much. They have their Pilas left as well, which is going to be doing a lot of damage. And they're going to be able to basically do a lot there. And also, it does seem like the attackers from this side, maybe, have managed to get their general through and actually charge down and kind of catch some of the stragglers, which is, again, something I really like to see by the attackers. They're not just going to let the defenders retreat back easily. They're going to put pressure on them, and they're going to slow them up. Luckily, they do have set up some nice defensive positions here. They've got some stones here, which is going to slow up the oncoming cavalry charges. Some spikes to cover this entrance. I think there's a barricade there as well. Maybe there's some more traps scattered around as well. So not a bad defensive position. The only thing I kind of worry about is that this is a very nice slinger position and archer position that I can just see directly down into the city center. So by giving up these stairs, you kind of give the enemy a lot of good opportunities. And also, I believe you can actually run archers all the way down here and onto this hill, and you can't run up this hill or run down it. So the archers can just shoot away to their heart's content. But again, I don't know if the attackers have many archers left, if any. Or they have some catapult. But catapults are going to be huge. They're going to really rack up some kills, I think. On 0 kills right now, but I'm sure that is going to change as the Romans are running into battle. They should just be marching. Oh, the burning balls as well finally went off, but I think they were a little bit too late. I think they got set ablaze just as the cavalry came in and killed these guys. So, unfortunately, the flaming balls did not get set off as effectively as they would like. The Romans are moving in. We also do have the Gallic heavy horse. Oh, nice! Wow, what a good utilization here. The brave 8 horses charging out and trying to kill this artillery crew. They're actually sending them running to their friendly legionaries. I don't know if they're going to make it in time. The legionaries throw their javelins. I mean, either way, this heavy horse has done an amazing job there. I really hope for the Romans' sake they can get this ballistic crew out of there. There's only 3 of them left. They can only operate like 1 ballista at the end. Now they're gone. Wow, what a clutch move there in the end. An absolutely, you know, clutch move. That could definitely be the winning. But like, if the defenders are going to win, it's going to be down to stuff like that. Because I'm pretty sure that ballista had all its ammunition left as well. And that ballista would have racked up hundreds of kills. So it's pretty insane. Oh, look at that as well. The Roman Testudo is advancing forward. Obviously avoiding any javelins. They get thrown their way until they're ready to charge and get stuck in. That looks really, really cool. The Romans advancing in a tight-knitted formation. However, the defending legionaries are going to charge out and meet them. And that does kind of give this unit a pretty, you know, slim formation. They're going to form up a little bit better now. And the javelins are going to come flying into this unit with only 15 men have been thrown forward. So the rest of the Romans can just throw in their Pila. And that's going to be very effective. They're going to drop a lot of men. You know, this one unit is going to definitely go down, which is defending. But these guys lost, you know, a handful of men. And even more now. Look at that number drop. Wow, down to 94. That was a fresh unit beforehand. And that's the usefulness of Pila right there. You know, already this unit is just so goddamn, you know, hampered. And now the rest of the infantry can come in and try and catch them off guard. And they're actually doing a very good job of enveloping them. A very nice job indeed. Over on the other side, the reinforcement Romans, who finally managed to break back. The Eagle cohort actually being sent forward. And these guys are going to meet the rest of the infantry here. But there's not really a lot left for the defenders. You know, they only have a handful of men scattered around. And especially now that the Romans are committing, they're just going to brute force their way through this gap. Look at that. They've got, what, 5 units of infantry here, plus the general. They're just going to try and pull through with everything they've got. Because the thing is, the Romans over here have left a huge gaping gap on their left flank. They were trying to obviously envelop the one unit in attacking them, but they've left a big gap, and now the Oathsworn are going to have to come in and try and patch that gap. But I don't know if it's going to be enough, because as you can see, Praetorian Guard are filtering around the side, and that's going to obviously create a formation breach that's going to create a pretty heavy blow to the defenders. And now Syrian archers are coming in as well to try and blockade this, and I don't know how successful that is going to be. The Eagle cohorts are being advanced forward, and they do have that nice little bonus right there. Raise the banners. The javelins are actually, there's actually 3 units of Eagle cohorts here. Oh my god. That's pretty deadly. Pretty deadly if they lose as well, because they would have lost all these Eagles. The Senate would not be happy. Well, they are fighting Balearic Slingers. I think 1 legionary unit and then just some archers, so they really shouldn't suffer too much. But nice, the Gallic General coming in. He is not done yet, charging into the front of these Eagle cohorts. A nice way to kind of come around the side there and basically prevent these guys from really throwing their javelins. And this is pretty deadly. You even have the Legatus dismounting his horse and going to get stuck in there. The General leading this is all or nothing. And I mean, honestly, I think this Oathsworn unit is going to clutch it for this on this side. I mean, obviously, he'll be tasked to getting the hell over to this side, because if any side is going to break, it's going to be this one right here. As the Romans have just thrown everything they have. You can even see they're pushing pretty far down as well. As you can see, the red banners looking pretty brutal. I'm surprised that nothing was sent around this side. It probably would have been pretty good to send just 1 unit of infantry, but I think they really just want to try and break their way through this gap with their superior units, who aren't as tired as the defenders. The defenders have been fighting hard all this battle replay, whereas these guys have been sitting outside the settlement, not really taking, you know, any casualties, any missile fire. The cavalry's even trying to get stuck in, trying to hammer and anvil anything they see. As there are a few units here that they can like charge into, so any little charge is probably going to be pretty useful. As we see this one Praetorian Guard facing off against multiple traitor legionaries. Supporting his general's bodyguard there as he dives into it. Pullo back in formation, come on. Oh, and he goes down. Serves him right for getting out of formation, if you ask me. Over on this side as well, we are seeing more and more of the Romans going in. Even the Roman general bodyguard, the Legatus, charging into the side. I imagine maybe the Oathsworn would be able to win this battle. They're only just 10 men, and they've probably killed hundreds. Yeah, we've killed 124 so far. The Oathsworn is definitely one of the scariest units on this battlefield, and they're proving why, especially with the support from the General's bodyguard, from the defenders, just charging into the side of these guys, trying to break them down. And then I think we might just be down to this one big choke point battle right here as a rally goes off in the nick of time for the defenders, just keeping everything around, because as you can see, this is just one hell of a mosh pit. I mean, I think we can pretty much triple speed for a little bit of this, just watching the units. I mean, who knows who is who in this battle? Definitely not me. Yeah, and definitely having this Oathsworn over here is going to be so needed, because even though the attackers are definitely making progress and taking down the defenders, You know, they still have to then eventually get through this Oathsworn unit, which is going to have some time to rest if they need to. And you are seeing both the attackers and defenders getting very, very low on morale. You know, a lot of people in this are on yellow morale. You can see by these dots, some are even on red morale. And as soon as that starts to drop, things look very dire. Because once it goes down to orange or once it goes down to yellow, you very, very quickly can find yourself in a situation where one rear charge breaks your entire army, especially at this point in the battle. And it's great to see that this battle is going on for the, you know, the distance. Oh, that peeler throw going off as well as the attackers just continue to try and break through the thin defenses. And yeah, trying to charge in, get a Praetorian Guard to face up against them. But oh wow, oh, okay, big abilities being popped off. Relentless has just gone ahead and been fired. This greatly improves the offensive capabilities of your units. This is like a once per game ability right here, and it does some serious damage. We've also got Unity as well, which basically makes your units unbreakable. And I think that's going to probably be the turning tide of this battle, if you ask me, maybe. It's going to make the defenders fight brave, and I think also even the Romans get it as well. Yeah, the Romans get it. Yeah, you can see right there, it says we can only use this once per battle, and it just boosts their attack up massively, up to 71 melee attack, compared to the 58 of these other units who don't necessarily have it. Yeah, it's a big boost. It's almost, you know, a 50% boost to melee attack right there. But both sides are feeling the hurt. A rally being dropped there by the defender, the attackers, which again was much needed. I mean, it doesn't really look like well, either side has much left. I think the defenders, though, are going to come out on top. They are enveloping. You can see a balance of power shifting slowly back in favor of the defenders as well. They've got a nice envelopment here, but as I said, literally anything can happen as another cavalry charge comes flying into their back. Like, all it takes is one rear charge and to break a couple units, and honestly, you can just find yourself losing, or maybe a general to die. You know, if a general dies, he can send shockwaves through the enemy position, and both the Roman generals on either side of the battlefield are trying to just do that killing blow, like I said. All the rally comes off of the defenders, so this battle is going to be so goddamn close. This cavalry, everything just needs to be thrown into this mosh pit. It is now or never. I think the Oathsworn's pulling back a little bit to try and envelop, but there you go. More of the defenders are breaking. I honestly have no idea. The attackers don't really have much left, but they're breaking these legionaries. This is going to be one of the most insanely close battles I think I have ever fought. And the Romans need to be very careful not to lose a horse there, as they're going to just come flying in, try and rear charge the Oathsworn, get around the side, maybe come into the back of these other Romans. The Oathsworn probably pulling out was pretty deadly, but I think they were trying to envelop the general's bodyguard. As literally, if you kill a general right now, that is it. There you go. More of the defenders are breaking. Both of the defensive generals are in now. You can obviously tell by the blue and yellow trim. I'm surprised that this unit hasn't committed yet. It probably needs to get stuck in, because I honestly have no idea who is going to win this battle. I feel like the balance of power bar is just shifting back and forth constantly with no real answer. Another charge here by the defending general. It's really not very impactful whatsoever, but anything can just be so important. You know, all you have to do is apply this morale debuff to these exhausted shaken men who have lost basically their entire army. And that is literally it, right? This is the last part. There's nothing else kind of sit around, though. Everything is committed to this fight as the hammer and anvils continue to come in. But the problem is, every time you hammer and anvil, you lose a couple units. And that's going to slowly rack up over the course of the battle. But the Romans are doing such a good job at holding on both sides of the spectrum. You literally have like 27 cohort legionaries holding off all of this, and then vice versa on the attacking side. They're fighting away one of the amazing Oathsworn units, the General's Oathsworn. Oh, and then taking them down as well. Brutal. I'm really surprised that we're not seeing this cavalry. Hopefully this unit hasn't like desynced or something, because nothing else is desynced, but It's kind of crazy, right? I imagine this unit could be so good right now if it just broke down this gap. But maybe this unit has already died in the battle, desynced a little. I'm not too sure. It seems kind of weird that this unit is just standing here, though. Maybe it, like, glitched out pathfinding. They couldn't move it. And I mean, there we have it. Literally, the battle is over. The attackers have lost. And the defenders claim a victory, bringing down this last unit. But they literally have nothing left. I mean, again, maybe not. Maybe these 2 cavalry units can do something. The defenders literally have 40 men left in this Oathsworn, 21 in this one, and their general's bodyguards. And literally, this battle came down to the last couple hundred men. Literally, oh my god, that is insane. Probably not even 100 men survived this battle. As it comes to an end. Yeah, I'm really curious what they did with this. This unit must have glitched out, because it obviously didn't desync, but I think they must have glitched out in this battle. Yeah, it just kind of failed. But yeah, literally this battle came down to 10, 30, literally 70 men. How insane is that? So guys, if you enjoyed this battle, make sure you drop a like and a comment down below. The defenders put up one hell of a show, repelling the attackers. It's only a shame that they were both Romans. It would have been kind of cool if there was more, you know, a little bit different, just because it's easy to see who's who. But I think, you know, it played out kind of fine. Maybe next time, though, if you guys do a Rome v Rome, try and kind of choose the other DLC factions if possible, because that does go ahead and give you some extra factions to kind of mess around with, and it's easier to watch. But still, nonetheless, an insane battle coming down to the last couple units. Absolutely crazy. The defenders putting up a very, very good defense with all of these elite cohorts. You can see the kills right there on anyone else if you're interested. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this battle, drop a like and a comment. Massive thank you to the guys who sent this battle in and played it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.